We once lived in a world where something like finding a gorilla-shaped Cheeto was just a mildly interesting blip in our day. Then eBay came along and the world we knew changed. Now people will sell anything if they think they'll be able to turn a profit. And I do mean anything. With an unbelievable array of utterly bizarre eBay listings, let's explore 20 of the weirdest things ever listed for sale. Number 20. Celebrity gum. Although buying used items like cars and clothes are a great way to save money, most of us can agree that used gum shouldn't be high on our wish list. Yet pieces of chewed gum spit out by Britney Spears have appeared on eBay more than once. While one seller has offered to put his wad up for DNA testing, others merely offer the gum, a ticket stub, and a story of how they came by it. With one of Britney's listed wads going for $514, it seems most buyers are all too happy to put their trust in the honesty of internet strangers. Celebrity gum isn't limited to pop stars, however, with the chewed gum of ex-British soccer manager Alex Ferguson selling for more than $500,000 in 2013. The full amount was donated to charity, and the buyer received the item in a decorative case commemorating the manager's final piece of gum as manager of Manchester United. Number 19. Oceanic Discovery. Most people seeking a new species might head to the wilds, but according to this next story, they might be better off heading to their nearest computer. After collectors purchased a sea urchin shell in an eBay auction, they contacted an expert for help identifying the shell, as it was like nothing they had seen before. It turned out, through eBay, an entirely new species had been discovered. Once the discovery was made official, selling prices for other samples of the species rocketed up from $8 to $138. They named the newly discovered sea urchin Coloplerus exquisitus. One glance at this shell makes the title of exquisite understandable. Although Coloplerus ebaeus would have worked too. Number 18. Expiry date not included. After hearing rumors about the unusual longevity of the McDonald's fast food products, Canadian Dave Alexander decided to test the theory. Impressed that the food changed little in appearance over the course of the next 6 years, Dave did the next logical thing. He listed the meal on eBay because who doesn't want ancient fast food? eBay removed the listing for violating the policy that requires all food to have an expiration date, but not before bids reached as high as $150. You have to wonder if that meal finally ended up in the trash. Perhaps this intrepid Canadian with an eye for profit still has a not-so-happy meal waiting for the right buyer. Number 17. Hula Hula. When a British lady decided to break her diet, she had no idea that the packet of hula hoops she bought contained one chip of massive proportions. After measuring it, she realized that the 4-inch chip crushed the previous record breaker by over an inch. Her listing on eBay created a bidding war, and the hula hoop sold for £510. Proving that her generosity was as big as her oversized snack, this diet-breaking Brit donated the proceeds to 2 local charities. Number 16. Sacred Sandwich. After a Florida woman made a sandwich, she discovered a recognizable lady looking back at her from the burnt pattern on the bread. As far as Floridian Diane Dizer was concerned, the Virgin Mary had appeared on her grilled cheese. Initially frightened, she called her husband and stuffed the sandwich into a cotton ball bed in a plastic box. 10 years later, she decided to sell her sacred snack, which she claims brought her luck gambling. She attributes $70,000 of her casino winnings to the sandwich. That considered, perhaps it's not surprising a casino purchased the item, specifically GoldenPalace.com, which specializes in these kind of lavish and unusual purchases. The casino copped the surprisingly mold-free sandwich for a whopping $28,000. Number 15. Famous French toast. When Justin Timberlake headed out for a breakfast interview, he opted not to finish his French toast. Seizing the opportunity for some quick cash, the interview host decided to keep the half-eaten food and place it up for bid on eBay. A frenzy of bidding ended with a young woman paying over $1,000 for the bread in question. Her plans to freeze-dry, seal, and place the toast in her dresser might leave people scratching their heads. She did, however, offer a possible explanation for the fact that Justin Timberlake didn't finish his breakfast. It looked a little burnt. Number 14. RocknRoll Water. In 1977, North Carolina resident Wade Jones picked up a cup that Elvis Presley had been sipping from at a concert with a few tablespoons of water left in the bottom. The boy carried it home and put it in the freezer. 27 years later, the now 40-year-old decided to auction off the now defrosted relic on eBay, snagging $455 for the water alone. The cup was not included in the sale and will continue to remain in Jones's possession, although he has offered to auction off exhibit rights. Number 13. Westcoast Curiosity. If you're looking for an escape, what could be better than owning a town of your own? 260 miles north of San Francisco, the scenic town of Bridgeville, California dates back to the 19th century, but a lack of industry slowly dwindled the town's economic resources. Despite this, the original asking price of $750,000 to purchase your own zip code was in fact surpassed. The final price was $1.8 million and came with all the comforts, including a post office and a cemetery. Number 12. Google searching for meaning. In 2000, a listing appeared on eBay, with the seller claiming to have figured out the answer to one of life's eternal questions, the meaning of life, and was willing to share it for a price. With countless people desperate to discover the meaning of life, one might expect this item would fetch a fortune. Instead, this remarkable piece of merchandise netted the grand total of $3.26. The buyer never shared the info they paid for, so we'll never know if the price was right. Number 11. Hi, my name is... While people change their names for various reasons, Terry Illigan decided to change hers for a monetary one. She needed extra cash to send her child to a golf school previously attended by Tiger Woods. After putting up an offer to change her name to the winning bidder's choice, Terry received a lot of interest. The final sale, to the tune of $15,000, was another purchase by the fun-loving staff at GoldenPalace.com. But how does Terry feel about her new identity as GoldenPalace.com? She says as long as her kids still call her mom, she doesn't mind at all. Number 10. A real headache. While the name GoldenPalace.com might be bad, having it tattooed on your forehead is arguably worse. When a mother wanted to fund a better education for her son, she sold ad space on her forehead to pay for it. The tattoo artist and his staff tried to talk Carrie Smith out of her decision, but she insisted. Luckily, the artist drew the ink close to her hairline to allow covering it up. The sale earned Carrie $10,000 from GoldenPalace.com, and while it's a decent sum, I'm not sure I'd settle for that. Would you? With the cost of his tuition etched into his mother's skin, her son has promised to get good grades. Number 9. Sacred car. When German student Benjamin Halby bought a pre-owned Volkswagen Golf, he assumed it was just a normal car. After receiving the registration papers, however, he discovered the previous owner of his vehicle was Pope Benedict XVI himself. The Pope had not yet been inaugurated when Halby purchased the car, so the seller didn't see any reason to hike up the price. As soon as Halby realized the connection, the 20-year-old headed to eBay to turn his used car into cash. With over 6 million visits to his listing, the student sold the car for $244,000. Number 8. Small soldiers. Although you may have heard of a knight in shining armor, what about a guinea pig in shining armor? While armored-clad rodents might not be everyone's idea of an ultimate fighting force, one craftsman decided to create exactly that. After his guinea pig passed away, seller Mighty Socks no longer had any use for his scale mail and helmet set. With profits reserved for a Virginia-based guinea pig rescue charity, the handmade battle garment set sold for $1,150. Number 7. Cosmic Collectible. The longest delivery journey in eBay's history begins with an asteroid colliding with Mars. A little chunk of the red planet was knocked into space in the process and soared through space before finally plummeting down to Earth. This rock enjoyed a history of exhibitions around the world before heading to the online auction house of eBay. The most expensive meteorite ever sold on eBay, this chunk of Mars fetched the astronomical price of $450,000. Number 6. Hollywood in your backyard. If you're looking for a chunk of history that is more terrestrial in nature, consider the predecessor to this iconic landmark. The Hollywoodland sign was originally constructed in 1923 as an advertisement for a real estate development, but quickly became a landmark in its own right, particularly after the land part was removed. Over 50 years later, the whole deteriorating sign had to be taken down and replaced. Since then, the old sign has changed hands a few times. The most recent sale took place on eBay, where someone bought this piece of history for a whopping $450,400. Number 5. Get a life. Devastated by his divorce, one man decided that he didn't want his life anymore. He listed everything he possessed on eBay, which included vehicles, a house, and everything in it. When the sum of his life totaled $399,300 American dollars, the divorcee sold up and took off to travel the world and fulfill his bucket list. After a series of adventures, he settled down on his own tropical island in Panama with a self-built home, a few chickens, and a new girlfriend. Now that is something I'd bid for. Number 4. Sibling for sale. When the early 2000s pop star James Blunt noticed his sister crying over having to miss a funeral in Ireland due to transport strikes, he did what any loving brother would. He sold her on eBay. Listing her as a damsel in distress in desperate need of transport, James's post was soon overcome with applicants. The winning bidder was a millionaire in a shining helicopter who flew the sister over for the funeral. Though he's never revealed how much his sibling finally sold for, James says this sale marked the end of his unusual addiction to eBay. Amazingly, Blunt's sister and her millionaire chauffeur later went on to get married. Number 3. Cheeto Memorial. Remember Harambee, the gorilla who became tragically famous after being shot to save a 3-year-old child who climbed into his cage at Cincinnati Zoo, sparking a global outcry online? When a snacker discovered a Cheeto shaped like the ill-fated ape in 2017, he listed it on eBay. Unbelievably, in a mind-blowing display of the power of the meme, the Cheeto sold for just short of $100,000. Number 2. Bigbudget breakfast. In 2004, a British student sold a single cornflake as a social experiment. While his sale netted him £1.20, a considerable profit considering a whole box can be purchased for less, two sisters from Virginia, USA earned considerably more 4 years later. They sold a cornflake in the shape of the state of Illinois to the owner of a curiosity museum in Texas and harvested $1,350 from a single piece of breakfast cereal. If you're done searching through your boxes of cereal for distinctively shaped flakes, it's time to reveal the weirdest thing ever sold on eBay. Number 1. No stone left unturned. Owning celebrities' chewed gum and half-eaten food is weird enough, but a hard deposit from a star's kidney? That's as weird as it gets. But that didn't stop our friends over at GoldenPalace.com swooping in to add William Shatner's kidney stone to their ever-growing collection of oddities. This bold new addition to their fleet was posted for sale by Shatner himself when he spied an opportunity to raise money for Habitat for Humanity, a charity devoted to combating poverty around the globe. Having previously sold his Star Trek tunics for more than $100,000 apiece, Shatner was confident that the Star Trek fanbase would pay a fair price for this bizarre item. He wasn't wrong, and the final offer of $75,000 proved that you really can sell anything on eBay. Well, being Captain Kirk probably helps. Now that you've seen the weirdest of the weird, would you buy any of them? If so, at what maximum price? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.